bin Laden's camps but failed to kill him. Now, we understand, bin Laden conceived his most devastating plan, a terror attack within his enemy's territory.
This is part of a long-term plan. This isn't an impulsive activity. When you train people in Afghanistan in well-organized camps, this is a comprehensive framework, and it's a long-term project of destabilizing freedom, and it's an assault on basically civilization.
Mohammed Atta reappeared at his Hamburg University in the autumn of 1998. The teaching staff found he was a changed man.
He looked more serious. He didn't smile as much as before. He worked hard.
I didn't see him smile or anything. He was, all the time that we talked together, he was very tight, very tense, I think, and he would never say anything private.
Atta's studies took on a new urgency. People here have told us his life outside was a mystery. But we've established that he had become an operational commander for bin Laden. He was preparing a spectacular terror attack, as yet 3 years away. Following the blueprint laid down in Al-Qaeda's manuals, he formed a terror cell, secret, self-contained. He found an apartment, number 54 Marienstrasse. It became the meeting place for at least 6 Arab students, members of the cell. Mohammed Atta himself, together with al-Shehi and Jarrah, would become 3 of the pilots. Our researchers show another flatmate, a Yemeni, Ramzi bin al-Shib, was to have been the 4th pilot on September the 11th. Their German landlord found nothing suspicious about the 3 young Arab students who signed the lease on the flat. They were bearded but smartly dressed. They seemed respectable. They only made one request, for high-speed phone lines for their 2 computers.
So this is the lease that you signed?
Yes, the original Hamburger Mietvertrag, the paper.
2 of the 3 men who signed the lease are believed by investigators to have been responsible for the cell's logistical support.
Said Bahachi, Mohammed El Amir,
That's
Ramzi bin al-Shib. Yes, Mohammed El Amir, Atta.
Mohammed Atta, using his family name, was the other person to sign the lease.
And did they have all the right paperwork, all the right credentials?
All the papers are correct.
The tragedy that we know is that it was a convenient enough or accommodating enough setting that they could be successful. And as a result of that success, America and freedom-loving people around the world were damaged severely.
That winter, there was a missed opportunity to penetrate the cell. In the aftermath of the Nairobi bombing, German intelligence was carrying out surveillance on one of the men who signed the lease on the flat with Atta. He was suspected of links to bin Laden. The activities at the Marienstrasse flat could have yielded valuable clues as to the group's intentions. But the Germans never focused on Mohammed Atta or the others who had become the pilots. That winter, Atta went to the university authorities with a special request. In the liberal atmosphere of a German academic institution, the request raised no suspicions.
I said, of course, that's usual and it's necessary that you, as a group of foreign students, have a special room for praying. And I said, I will help you.
But unknown to the authorities, the room wasn't only used for praying. Atta installed a phone line and a computer, which investigators are now examining. Mohammed Atta's thesis on urban renewal in an ancient Islamic city was completed at the end of 1999. It was given the highest mark. But when the results were announced, the student's behaviour towards a woman examiner caused considerable embarrassment.
I shook hands and congratulated him, and of course my colleague assisting the oral examination wanted to shake hands too and to congratulate.
And she was standing there, he wouldn't take her hand.
For me, it was a somewhat astounding reaction.
It was very embarrassing.
Maybe now I should mark that this could be sign of a deeper changing.
On the front of Mohammed Atta's thesis, there was an unusual dedication.
What does it say?
It says, "Speak, my prayers and my sacrifice and my life and my death belong to Allah, the Lord of the worlds." Quran 6:162.
My life and my death belong to Allah.
Yes, my life and my death.
Mohammed Atta's life in Germany was drawing to a close. A new phase of the plan was due to begin in another country. But there was an obstacle: stamps in his passport, evidence of trips to Afghanistan. Atta had been back to Bin Laden's camps again that year.
Guten Tag, ich bin der elektronische Fotograf.
Atta needed a new passport. So did al-Shehi and Jarrah. They too had been in Bin Laden's camps that year. All three men reported their passports stolen.
Why did they claim that?
So they can get a visa to the US without them knowing that they've been to Afghanistan and Pakistan.
So to start with a clean sheet, as it were.
Right.
"15 months before the September attacks, three of the men who would pilot the planes arrived, separately, in America. The Arab tourists who'd come from Hamburg attracted no attention. The States was to prove too open, too unsuspecting.
There were serious breakdowns. We'd not been attacked in our homeland since Pearl Harbor. We did not feel that America itself was a target of terrorist activities. We were lax in that regard.
The trio made their way south to Florida and the small town of Venice. With its long hours of sunshine, Florida is the place where people come to learn to fly as quickly as possible. The men from Hamburg headed for two small flying schools. Ziad Jarrah checked into the Florida Flight Training Center. On the same small airstrip, just 100 yards up the road, Mohammed Atta and Marwan al-Shehi enrolled at Huffman Aviation. Al-Shehi was quiet, didn't say much, but right from the start, Atta rubbed people up the wrong way.
I thought he was very arrogant, and this is the right wording I would use again. And I have heard now a lot of people thought he was a very arrogant son of a bitch.
The striking feature were his eyes. They were immovable. They were extremely cold.
The two men let it be known that Atta was a member of Saudi royalty, al-Shehi, his bodyguard. They always flew together, Atta usually at the controls, al-Shehi respectfully behind him. A British woman was learning to fly at Huffman at the same time. After the September attacks, she rang the FBI, before Atta's name had been made public. She'd always been suspicious that something about him just wasn't right.
That is something that struck me just odd, of somebody who seemed to be so in command, and yet approaching this aircraft as though it was a means to an end, rather than a pleasure or enjoyment. And this is why one couldn't help but get suspicious as to why. Why is he here? Why is he doing this?
Only once did Anne Greaves see any sign of enthusiasm from the two mysterious Arabs. It was in the computer room where they'd been busy on the internet.